Does our inner child need to be healed, or do they need to be loved and revealed? There's a lot of talk, and a lot of videos and a lot of things about inner child healing today. And why is that? It's because developmentally, we grow up physically, but not all of us grow up emotionally. So a lot of times when we talk about inner child healing, it's arrested development. So there's places in us, in some of us, we're fully arrested, like we're fully undeveloped. They call it emotional maturity, meaning a lot of us are still responding and reacting from the ages of 2, 3, 4, 5. That's when our energy in our system got suppressed, and that's the patterning that keeps running in our system. And we have these automatic responses to certain situations and things like that, still reliving those hurts from mommy and daddy, or living those hurts along the way. And why is that? It's because our minds remember the painful experiences. And those painful experiences filter our perceptions and points of views. And we tend to continue that cycle, not because it's happening, it's because of the meanings that we say about what's happening. They say it's the law of attraction. I say it's the law of perception. Sure, it could be a law of attraction or vibration, but what are we saying it means stems from our inner programming. And why do inner child healing? Because there's a certain time, certain situations that we created meanings about ourselves, about lives, because of situations that we are in. So the trauma, the pain, it's not happening today. What the body remembers is the imprint, is the meaning that we concluded about ourselves and the world because of that experience. And that's why we want to do inner child healing. I mean, we think about it like, so our inner child, it's my little Debra, I love you. I have her picture all over the house just to remind me of loving myself, just to remind me that there is a sweet, tender spirit inside of me, a creative spirit inside of me, a loving spirit inside of me, a joyful spirit inside of me that may have been suppressed along the way. And, every time I've done like my layering, I've uncover different aspects of myself, some, really scary to me. Other aspects are really, really fun and exciting. However, there were so many different aspects that were created because of different experiences along the way, and no aspects of us are bad or wrong. I always cringe when people say, I need to get rid of my anxiety, rid of my depression, rid of whatever symptom they're having, even in the body. It's like, no, that part of us is trying to get our attention. It's like, we want to listen to that part. We want to hold that part. We want to have a better understanding, just like when you meet somebody, right? So you meet somebody, you kind of want to get to know them, right? It's the same thing with our symptoms. Our symptoms are messengers from within, showing us that something inside of us is asking for our attention. And if we deny, if we push aside, a lot of people, have surgery and get rid of a certain symptom, and then it comes back in another way, and then they have surgery and get rid of a certain symptom, and it comes back in another way. Sometimes there's secondary gain going on. Our psyches, our intelligent part of us will find any way to get our needs met. If our needs for love, if our needs for connection, if our needs for safety aren't being met, an intelligent part of us will create something to get those needs met. And, that's why understanding what we're needing is so important, and meeting our needs consciously. Now, sometimes we don't know how to do that. I didn't know how to do that because I was stuck in that age of 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, as I was still a little child wanting mommy and daddy to take care of me. And if I took care of myself, that means mommy and daddy won't take care of me. And not all my life, but most of my life, I was anorexic for 23 years. And that was a part of me that concluded that if I was sick enough, somebody would love me and take care of me. I didn't want to grow up. I didn't know how, but I didn't want to, because I was still waiting for those unmet needs to be met by mommy and daddy. 1996, my dad left the physical realm. In 2007, my mom left the physical realm. And that was when I fell to my knees. And I did not even know anything about self-love, plus it was foreign to me, but I didn't know how to take care of myself, and I had to learn. Sometimes it's through crisis that we really find our strengths. And, I thought being anorexic and suicidal and all that was a crisis, but when my dad died, that was really hard. When my mom died, that was even harder. And, it's everything ever wanted was for first my dad to love me and pay attention to me, and that was really hard. And then my mom, last 5 years of her life, had cancer, and we got really close, and I was able to resolve some of that. I finally got the love that I wanted from her. However, there was still a little bit of enmeshment and enabling going on, and I still relied on her when I got into a hole in a jam. She'd always come and save me, and that never really helped me to stand on my own 2 feet. When my mom left the physical plane, I started standing on my own 2 feet, and I took my healing into my own hands. And I was in therapy for years and years and years, and nothing was changing. No one helped me work with the underlying stuff, and that's why I'm talking about this today, because it's the underlying patterning. It's not only our quote inner child, but it's the patterning that got developed at a younger age, where our emotional nurturing wasn't met, or even physical. But for me, it was emotional. Emotional needs wasn't met. I wasn't seen. I was seen, but criticized. What I said was always put down. Things like that. Now, no matter what I did was never good enough. I could do anything right. Like all these things. That was a patterning running inside of me, and that patterning was creating my life journey. And anytime I wanted to do something, I put the brakes on because I can't do anything right. Right? So that would stifle everything, because how can you live? We can't. Well, we can exist. We can continue on the automatic responses, living in comfort and safety. And for me, it was exercise, eat, exercise, eat, exercise, eat, go to bed. That was how I got through the days. And that's not life. We're given this gift called life. We're given this beautiful opportunity to be here. But if we have quote programming that has any of these ideas of that we're bad, that we're wrong, that the trauma that we experienced, that we took on the blame for, that we thought that we deserved it, all those things, it's all like coverings over our quote inner child, where our creativity lives, where our joy lives, where our loving freely lives. There's so much talk about conditional love and unconditional love, but what is unconditional love? Unconditional love is loving unconditionally, right? Now, of course, we're in a human body, so there's going to be some conditions. And what are conditions? It's like asking for our needs to be met. So it's not really conditional. It's like I can love the person, but not the behavior, right? So, meaning I can accept the person, which is love and acceptance, but the behavior, that doesn't mean that we always accept behaviors that are harmful to us, right? So it's to recognize that. Sure, I can love the person, but that behavior is not okay in my life. And that's what people call boundaries. But if we don't know how to communicate our needs, and we just keep creating boundaries, we never learn how to empower ourselves. Empowerment comes from asking for what we're wanting and needing. Empowerment comes from learning how to compassionately communicate with other beings, right? So it's not just about me. So in every situation, there's 2 people. So finding out, well, why is that person behaving the way they're behaving? What are they needing? Now, if they're being totally abusive with us, that's a whole different story. Leave, take care of yourself, get out of there. But if we can understand the feelings and needs of somebody else, it kind of opens ourselves to have compassion for ourselves and the other person. Then we could talk about, the situation. Hey, you know what? When you call me all the time, and I feel like it's just about you, and you always want to take from me, right? So that might be a perception too, but that's the perception going on. You can say, when I see that, I don't feel like I'm being heard or seen, and I really would like us to have this mutual understanding in this connection. I would like to have some mutual giving and receiving in this connection. How would that be okay with you? If it's not okay with them, maybe that's not the healthiest relationship. So we get to understand that, right? So we get to see that, and then we could choose whether we want to stay in that relationship or not. So this is all about, if we want to become truly, quote, self-empowered, it's about coming back home to finding out what we're wanting and needing, and asking for what we're wanting and needing. It's taking care, learning how, because we may not know how, but learning how by practice and doing the inner healing, taking care of ourselves, our inner child, our life, our bodies, our minds, our souls, our spirits. It's a whole. Healing is a whole: physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual. Healing, inner child revealing, loving, all of that stuff, it all kind of comes together, right? So when you say healing, it's our soul's revealing. Healing is transforming those layers of conditioning, those hurts and wounds, and allowing us to bloom from the inside, allowing those parts of us that have been hidden and forbidden to come out into the light so we can love on them, so we can understand them, so we can listen to what they're wanting and needing. There are no good or bad symptoms, experiences, whatever, there's no good or bad parts of us. We may think that from the human perspective, but all parts are seeking to get a need met. When we understand the need of that part will stop acting out if it's ways that are unhealthy. We help that part have a better understanding that, hey, you know what, it's safe for you to da-da-da. Like for me, eating was not safe. The whole thing with eating, if I'm fat, nobody will love me. Like that part was running the show. So no matter what I did to get, better from anorexia, that part would get louder and it was stronger. And the more I fed it, the stronger it got. And then it took over me. It wasn't me, but it was took over me. I identified with it. And that's the challenge when doctors, diagnose people. People become identified with that, but we're so much more than our symptoms. I'm an example of that, right? So every doctor and treatment center gave up on me, left me to die, and I finally took my healing into my own hands, and through trial and error, into all this stuff, and listening and connecting with something greater than myself, and learning how to love myself, and healing those traumas and those traumas, which are perceptions and misunderstandings that I bought into when I was a child and as I was growing up, that I don't deserve to live, that I don't deserve to be here, that I don't deserve to have anything, like all those things. It's not true. Every person, every single one of us is a beautiful expression of the divine. Every single one of us is worth experiencing a beautiful and joyful life. Every single one of us is valuable and worthy, not because of what we have or do. We're valued and worthy because you are you and I am me. That's such a beautiful thing when we can really get that at that visceral level. That's such a beautiful thing when we could feel it in our heart and soul, and bring our inner child into that and just love them and hold them and give to ourselves what we're wanting and needing, and also have that in relationships with other beautiful beings, because it's not just about us, right? So a lot of people say, oh, I'm going to do my self-healing, but we heal in relationships, because it's in relationships where we're seeing we're heard, we're understood, and we're loved. And what a beautiful opportunity to feel that also from somebody else. Now, some people say no one will love you until you love yourself. I don't believe that, because I personally experienced the opposite. I had some people come into my life when I was a wreck. I hated myself. I was cutting myself. I was doing stuff. It was I was not this person that you see today. And the whole thing with making money, right? You can't make money if you have limiting beliefs. Well, that's not true either. I was making tons of money when I had limiting beliefs, So all these things, I don't know, because of my personal experience, I question everything. I let life teach me. I look at my experience and I say, hey, what is this teaching me? How can I learn from this with every experience that happens? And that's the beauty of it. We all have that innate wisdom, and the more layering we clear, the more we start to tune into that innate wisdom and our inner child. Our inner child is wise. My little Debra, she speaks to me and she shares with me things that I've never even learned before. They are in touch with spirit. And that's such a beautiful thing when we can get back in touch with our inner child. We can get back in touch with our heart and soul, feel the radiance of the inner glow, and shine in the ways that we're meant to shine, and live in the ways that we're meant to live. Now, there will be challenges, but those challenges are here to help us to become more of who we truly are. So I hope this video inspired you in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 10, 15, 20 ways or another. Feel free to reach out for support if you would like support on your journey. I know you can do this if you choose. I believe in you, and I love